So with these words of introduction, I'd like to give you the floor.
Good morning, wonderful MEPs. I can't tell you how relieved I am and excited at the same time to be here. Kostadinka was one of the very first MEPs whom I ever spoke to when I came in March 2014, 2 years ago, with 30 parents from the UK who had put hopes on me getting their children back, either from care or from adoptive parents. To be here now, 2 years later, in this fabulous facility with translation, where people can talk in their own language across these problems, and to hear somebody from the Commission making positive comments, I can't tell you what it means to me. But also that I'm not just here as a petitioner today, but together with Belinda Mackenzie, who happens to be a Mackenzie friend by nature and name. Mackenzie Friends have had to become a necessity in the UK because the legal profession has let parents down in secret family courts. That is at the nub of removing children and getting them to be adopted against their parents' wills. That's why 2 years after the petition that I presented at the time to abolish forced adoptions, I am now promoting a next petition and have contacted the Secretariat with a petition to stop the forced removals by social services. On top of it, I am here now as a public interest whistleblower. I face a criminal trial with imprisonment starting on July 11th. 5 days are scheduled. So what we've experienced in the UK is not just criminal activities and not just being covered up, but also public interest whistleblowers like me being stitched up, because I can assure you I am not a criminal. I am a mathematician and computer scientist. So if you could just click on so that we can race through the slides, because Zoe from the Commission has put into a nutshell everything that we have been experiencing first-hand. It is quite extraordinary and unbelievable. This is the tragedy that we've been observing, we as people who've been contacted by mothers, by parents themselves. Why? Because their children are not being heard. One of our allies has set up a charity called Children Screaming to be Heard. That is the reality. So all of these wonderful institutions, they talk about it and write about it, but the reality on the ground doesn't happen. Mind the gap is the big word always on tube stations between the papers and the realities on the ground. It is so tragic. I mean, in a way, I feel what's the point in talking about it? So I, as my last resort, published things online because it just wasn't worth talking anymore. I mean, when you go to prisons and see the mothers and know the mother whose child is taken at birth in prison, what do you want to do? And so every case is the worst, and every country thinks it's the worst. I mean, so at least I've now counted all of the MEPs who've expressed some interest, and it's nearly 300, so you can go through again. I wish I had a button to hear, but we can. I will make the slides available anyway on the site which is now called McNews, because as Mackenzie Friends we have become a news agency thanks to Dave, who has come. He sold his house and his car to buy a professional broadcasting camera so that we can spread the news. We believe it is truly the worst what's happening in the UK. One of the things that I've discovered is that the statistics that the government is publishing is only taking in half of the local authorities, 152 of 326. Why? The statistics are already bad. The trends are rising of children being taken into care, the children of being trafficked. The children are exactly what Zoe talked about, so I feel I don't need to repeat it, but I'm I'm already way ahead of my. You're behind me with the slides. If you can just go on, please, because I've made it sort of sexy. I've petitioned not only the UK government. I've gone afterwards to the EU Parliament. We have appealed to the Commission. We've had a meeting with them. We've based our reports on UN reports. They are being ignored. The UN has criticised the UK government, has made 52, 95 recommendations. I've written to the Children's Commissioner, what are you doing about the recommendations? All we are getting are what I call fob-off letters. It is just as bad as you cannot imagine it, so you can't believe it. All you can do is believe me, just like we believe the mothers. And, of course, the mainstream media. Yeah, I mean, that is believable. When things like the Daily Mail publish that London has become the world capital of child abuse, then that's hopefully believable. But that was printed 2 years ago. What difference has it made? Trends are rising. It is just unbelievable. Keep going, please. So when I first came, a Romanian MEP asked me, what on earth is a forced adoption? You know, are we in South America? Well, unfortunately, there are judges and judges and judges who legitimise in secret family courts what is happening after a child is being taken. Go on, please. So I've got the statistics, I've got the slides, and I've got them on the national level, on the local level, but this is the nub today. First, the child gets removed. Then this removal gets legitimised in a court. Then there are people who make money out of allowing contact between parents and children. So, yes, Zoe, you asked the right questions. Who benefits? Who profits? Follow the money. So adoption is, in a way, minor. It's between 4 and 8% of all of the children who are in care. But abuse and sale are the purposes. I didn't think that was the reason either. And so now we have not only to educate the general public, but also MEPs and, of course, the whole of the Commission, hoping that we will make a difference. But, God, what a process. So the mainstream media have made reports. There was a film made by Channel 4 and by BBC, also here at the Parliament, filming the chairman of the petition, who says it's all perfectly against the fundamental charter. What difference does it make? We just have to keep going. That's all I can say and do, each in our own way. What else can we? What else is there? Keep going. And now it's getting serious, or tragic, or horrendous, or even more unbelievable. And I don't know whether Greece has been reached by this kind of story of this terrible Jimmy Savile, who is not alive anymore, but he has made at least the topic of child sexual abuse topical, and how he was even part of a satanic ring. But of course, at least he's dead. So you see, my time is nearly up. So let's just go on to the next level, please, because this is just once again the evidence that I'm not alone. Satanic abuse is a phenomenon that it cannot be denied. The big questions are: what next? Where do we go from here? Who can do what? Who will implement what kind of monitoring procedures? I was thinking at some stage we need some ethics and justice panels where the MEPs and MPs and local counsellors and victims and parents get together on a local level. But please, anybody come up with solutions, please. I have had enough of the problems. Thank you for listening and sharing my pain and suffering. Thank you.